The other night I was, when the transit hit, I decided, well, gosh, these words, we know they have frequency, right? So I just started saying them a bunch of times. So I made it a game to where I would incorporate it into the conversation. My boyfriend didn't know what I was doing. I'm like, well, how gracious of you. So every time that we could work grace into the conversation today, I'm going to go with the chimes, and that'll give us a little bit of sacred space for pausing. We are so excited to do this and have people with us to be able to connect with, and I intend to be a gracious host, and I have Bella here with me today, and I like to say she's kind of like an encyclopedia of knowledge, and she has so much information that she can share. It's like both sides of her brain are working, and it's beautiful. So I guess that I'll let her introduce herself, and I'll drink some coffee and wake up. Are you ready, Bella?
Yeah, I'm ready. Yeah. Well, like you just said, Melinda, I usually really like to be called out with questions, and for me, no questions are bad. Um, and I'm really curious to look at. I'm just looking at the chart I pulled up now, and I'm like, already I'm like, oh, we have to speak about this. So I'm just a very kind of enthusiastic person. And that's probably what can make you guys enthusiastic too. I think that's one of my qualities. Since I'm so enthusiastic, it actually sounds fun, So yeah,
it does sound fun, and that's a good point that I wanted to talk about. That there may be times when you don't understand what we are saying, because maybe you're not privy to all of the phrases that we use, because when we get on a roll, we kind of get excited and in the moment. So what we'll do at the end, we'll definitely have some space for questions and answers, and then we'll also like clarity questions. So if there's something that we're not speaking, because this is code, and we want to make sure that you get that information. And part of this is going to be recorded, and then we'll have an opportunity at the end to be able to say, look, I really don't want to have that recorded. Your privacy is super important to me with 33 and retreat in my community, because your stories are sacred to us, and we want to have that organic, free-flowing there. I feel it freeing up as I'm saying that. Free-flowing information and transfer of information, and feel safe as well. So just let us know at the end, and we'll Ashley's a whiz, and Bella has great editing skills as well. But we're thankful to be here and for you to be a part of this learning experience and exchange, because when we connect with each other, that's when the magic happens. These teachings are really potent, and they weren't meant to be taught alone. There is a self-contemplation, absolutely. I'm a high advocate of self-reflection, and then you really need the community as well. And I think that the Gene Keys is fostering that community by doing the Delta program that they're doing right now. And that shows that they're really syncing up with each other and using that, that intention and that laser focus to really dive deep together and inspire each other. One thing that is going to be really key in moving forward that I'd like to implement with this is attitudes of gratitude and breakthrough. So, because we plan on doing this every Sunday. And when I was in a manifestation workshop one time, that's what they did. They did, what are your attitudes of gratitude for the week, or your breakthrough, or whatever. So everybody got definitely time to talk. And what that did is all through the week, we started looking for our breakthroughs. It was awesome. So that's what quantum mechanic mechanics, right? So when you look for something, you know, there is more of it. It's basic law of attraction. You're drawing that to you. And gratitude is such a special frequency. It's a magical frequency. Studies show that it will rewire your brain. I have used it. 5, I am grateful for, and writing it out at night. And Matt Kahn says you don't even have to say that I am grateful for. You can say I am hopeful to be grateful for, and it sends the same message to your subconscious. So that's very freeing. A lot of times when we're in depression or anxiety, we're on a lower, in a shadow frequency. It's a little bit low. It's hard to reach out and say, yeah, I'm grateful for this. You're not feeling very grateful. So that is too big of a leap. If you say those words, it doesn't match what you're feeling inside your subconscious, and so there's a lack of integrity, and you don't get the magical transformational rewiring because inside of you, your subconscious is not matching up to it. So the magic can't happen. So just by saying that I'm hopeful for that, I'll be more grateful. That's a good little trick. See, I have plenty to talk about. So my name is Melinda Butterfield, and I'm just excited to be here. I have a lovely team of people with Bella and Ashley, and we're going to be doing Sacred Sundays, Transit Talk. We always try to talk about sacred self-care support, and then we want to not just talk. We want to interact with you, find out, you know, what's percolating, what happened, you know, in line 3. Line 3 is such an underdog and gets a bad rap that I feel very inspired to talk about line 3. What happened with yesterday. See, this is where we can really connect, because we're going to be seeing these frequencies acted out in our lives, and it'll give you, your contemplation is your own. But when you see how other people are contemplating, it gives you insight and ahas, and also gives you examples, and then you can tweak it for your own unique design. So the line 3 is often talked about as bumping up against things. They say even children, I want to check with my line 3 friends and see if when they were children, if they were bumping around a lot, and if they were always getting scrapes and bruises. And so we were in line 3, and the 22 is in grace, right? So being gracious, behavior, full of grace, just the art of the beauty of inside and out. It's a beautiful, very long chapter, very potent chapter. It is a sister transmission considered to the master key as well, and it's just packed full of with a lot of deep history, and it's fascinating. And what happened, I got something in my eye yesterday, and boy, did I bump right into the wall. And I just thought, oh, here we go, line 3 at this. So I wasn't very gracious. So working on that. Things happen. It's about experiences, and line 3 gets a bad rap because they're the ones that are out there trying things out for us, seeing what works. You know, we wouldn't know all of that if they weren't blazing the trail. And it's not about, I think the flipping the frequency on that is, it's not about the end result. For line 3, it's about the experience. So that releases, you know, whether it's a pass or fail. And I think if the line 3 knows that they're doing that for other people, it makes them, you know, it softens it a little bit. I think it's like, for me, I don't have a lot of line 3, but I've been deeply contemplating, because it's the underdog, and I love helping the underdogs. So, you know, when I think about, you know, that the line 3 is helping to see what works, it feels a little bit different in my body, like, you know, that they can stand up and have a little more strength, like, okay, let's do this for everybody, yay. Okay. Do you guys have a lot of line 3? Yeah, I don't have a lot of line 3. But the 6, boy, does the 6 go through the 3, right? Lynn, let's hear what's your Let me unmute you, or you can unmute yourself. Let's find out a little, or let Bella introduce herself, and then you guys can share a little bit about you. How does that sound?
Okay.
Sounds very gracious. Oh. Did you have anything to add, Bella, before we get into it? We should probably talk about the chart first.
Yeah, I feel like I introduced myself.
Yeah.
But I'm also super happy to hear, if Ryan or Lynn has something that they are specifically like interested in, or something that's like, really present right now, so that we can, because the live call is really for the people that are on the call. We want to give more, right? Because you guys took the time and you're here. So that's why we want to kind of, we want this to be tailored to what serves you guys.
So I invite you guys to talk about anything that's been going on with this transit. Tell us, like I'm a 6'2" off the roof, emotional generator. Tell us, give us a little bit of it. Give us a juice.
I could go on and just speak a little bit about the chart. And, anytime that I'm going to try to make pauses, because the thing is, when I start on it, I kind of just go. So I'll just go over the chart, like what I can see generally in the chart, what kind of, what gets awakening me when I look at it. So first of all, we can see that this chart doesn't have any channels, which is, there are no centers that are connected with, for example, can you actually see? Yeah, you can see my, yeah. So here, for example, if we would have the 56 and the 36, we would have the whole channel. And then we would have centers that are colored in, that are defined. And then that will be a theme right now, and something quite big. So when Melinda posted transits a couple of days ago, we had this channel 1762. And then I was like, that is, that pops out, because then those two centers are colored, and that really pops out, and that makes us, look, this is a chart that is kind of, it's open and balanced, and there are not those themes that come through through the channels. We have all the centers that are open, so there is kind of a nice breathing in and out of this chart. However, we can see that there are two centers that are completely blank, and that is inviting us to be wise in those centers. So this center is called the ego center, or the heart center, and it's kind of the heart muscle. It's not the heart in terms of emotions and love. It's really the heart in terms of, my heart beats as kind of being in the forest and meeting another bear, if we're a bear, and then it's about survival and, like, having that heart that continues to beat, and knowing your worthiness. So for human beings, this center has to do with worthiness, and the shadow would be having to prove by doing something that we're worthy. So this transit right now asks us to look at that. Where might we feel unworthy? Where do we feel like we have to do something in order to feel like we are worthy? And on the other side, this one is about the immune system and about our instinct. So it makes us look at our fears, like where does our fear help us to be safe, and where does our fear actually stop us from living fully? And also, it's anything from instinct, which is very in the moment, to the more like 57 and 50 that has even more like kind of a longer kind of intuition. Like it's not just the instinct as an animal would have in the moment, but it's also this kind of being tuned in with the fields around us and other people. So that this center asks us to look at that, both our instinct, our fears, our intuition. And then all the other centers have some activations. So then what we usually look at is that what we always speak about, when we speak about the transit, we speak about the sun, because as we know in astrology as well, it's the sun we look at. Like I'm a Taurus because the sun was in Taurus when I was born. So this is like the main transit key every week. And the sun is going to be in the same sign for 5.7 days. So that's why we say, okay, this week we're in this transit. That's mean that the sun is in this gate or in this gene key for those 5-6 days. And of course, what we look at when we are on the earth, that's our perspective to look out. We will look what is on the other side of that sun, that's the earth. So this becomes, when we look at the rave mandala, I'm not going to pull it up now, but in that chart, if we would have the rave mandala around this chart, which would show the exact gates, you would have the 22 on one side and you would have the 47 on the other side, because they are looking at each other. So from the earth perspective, this becomes important, and it's also the programming partner. They are with each other. So what pops out for me today is what Melinda was saying, the third line. So you can see we have third lines in the transits. There's a third line in the moon right now. And we also have quite a lot of fourth lines. So like right now we're asked to go into the emotional body, because line the one and 2 are the physical, 3 and 4 are the emotional, 5 and 6 are the mental. So there's a lot in this chart that really asks us to go into the astral body, to the heart, even that split between what will be the solar plexus, that is kind of, emotions that are fire and emotions, and then the heart, the fourth chakra, the third and the fourth chakra, that is more, all embracing. And this chart kind of makes us look at that split as well between the third chakra and the fourth chakra, kind of where humanity is right now, merging that split of not just acting impulsively from our emotions, but actually let that split connect, so we can be very honest in our emotions, but always circulated through the love of the heart.
Amen.
And it's also, so when we speak about emotions, it's a lot, that is the third and the fourth chakras, so the third and the fourth line is where we connect with others. So when Melinda was saying the third line, it connects with so many others. It's about experience and energy. So it's really about connection with others. The fourth line connects with friendship, community, belonging. So in this chart, we have all that, and that's the main thing right now. When we look at, I was just looking, when Melinda was speaking in the beginning, I was looking at the shadows, the victim states and the dilemmas of those two main gene keys. So again, we can see that even if this is the dilemma of the gene key or the gate, it's not the dilemma of the line. So I just spoke about the line, but we can see the theme that also goes into the gate of the gene key, because the 22nd is that the 22nd has to do with being a victim of other people's ungracious acts. And the 47 has to do with your karma. So you can see that even the gene keys, not only the line, are really speaking to us about the other, we in relationship to the other, and what they, what might happen in that relationship, what we are, what we are responsible of, and what we might, not be responsible of, or at least not feel that we are responsible of. And the karma, it's also something that we can never get away from this dance. This dance is always going to be there. So that's the victim states, and the dilemmas are ownership and accountability. So that's also like in any relationship, ownership and accountability, how they are, intrinsically together. And we have,
And we are going to talk about how to lighten the karmic load. And that's going to be in the master class. We're going to go through those core pieces and talk about that it's hard to do it alone. It really is. So we're going to need to ask for some help. And that help is with angels or spiritual beings, or whatever word you want to use it, that they are here. They want to be called on. And so it'll be like a precursor for like the 7 sacred seals.
Yeah, and that's good that I had to pause a little bit, because I want you to also feel into, now we use this chart because this is how the planets are right now, but to really know, if you have the 22nd, 47 in your chart, or if you have those open centers that are like completely open centers, this is something that applies to you all the time, because you were born with that constellation. So in all these calls, also bring it back to your own chart and be like, okay, yeah, I have a lot of third and fourth line, and I have those open centers. Or so it's also, we do this kind of because it's a fun way of learning, but it's also, of course, it's all alive this week, but it's also something that you can take back in your own chart or in this chart of family members. So this is absolutely not something that is like, okay, it's after today it's old. It's all there, it's all hologenetic. And the
Yeah,
more
and we have all of the genes and we have all the gates. And so, you know, if we set our intentions, we can activate. I mean, I've been activated and I'm like, this isn't even in my chart. And then I look and it's in a codon ring with me, you know, and then I go, oh, aha, that's what's going on.
Right. So the moon is also third line, and it's here in the sacral center, and it has to do with, you know, selflessness and altruism in the higher frequencies, but it's about selfishness in the lower frequencies. So this is something to look at in the relationships right now, and also intimate sexuality, because the moon kind of is that magnetism. And to be like, where am I selfish and where am I selfless, and how does my energy and experience, you know, how can that be expressed and lived together with the fact that I care about other people. And I
want to jump in real quick. And so I'm already planning my day around this. You know, it's Sunday. I have the channel. My boyfriend has the channel. We're just gonna, you know, do some spa stuff and get in the hot tub and nurture ourselves and renew ourselves for the week.
And it's so beautiful. Like, I get kind of goosebumps as well, Melinda, because you can also see that Mars and Venus, right now, no, here's Venus, and where is Mars? Here. Yeah, they are both in fourth line. So both the sacred feminine and the sacred masculine, they are in the same line. And for the feminine, the fourth line is about belonging and sweetness in the fourth line, and for the masculine, it's, I mean, you could say for the mature masculine, it's really about service, and in this line, you can also say it's about opening the heart, like, because that's kind of the Mars. But if we look at the mature masculine, it's about service and serving the feminine. And it's also funny that Mars has this feminine gene key, the second gene key, that is only made up of yin lines. It's a completely feminine principle from the heart. So right now, Mars, he's super feminine, or he's super open to the feminine, because he has taken on that kind of attribute of the feminine gene key in the fourth line, and the second, fourth, and sixth line are feminine lines. So it's beautiful that he is, you know, that he's so open to that feminine. And then the feminine comes with the sensitivity of the ninth gene key, and this kind of very tactile sensitivity, and kind of animal whisper sensitivity. So this is a very, right now, whether it's your inner masculine and feminine that can listen to each other, kind of your drive and your drive and your inertia, like what's on the inside and like what you do on the inside and the outside, they can be alchemized. But also, if you're in relationship, to know right now the masculine, you know, it's more feminine, if you're gonna trust the planets and the transits.
And I love that, you know, you're saying he, because the planets, they do have different archetypal traits. And not only do the lines, the gene key, okay, first of all, gene keys, I Ching, gates, those are all the same. Then we have the gate or gene key, and then, so that holds an archetype. I said that to my friend. He didn't know what I was talking about. I said, avatar? Ding, 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 ding. Okay, so we got to speak the code that'll speak to everybody. So I like to say lens frequency, flavor. Richard says flavor, color, you know, whatever's going to get you there. So then we have the line. So that's a second, not necessarily in that order, but that's another piece. And then another piece is where the planets, what flavor, frequency, archetype the planets gave us. I mean, the planets, literally, I have this vision, you guys. It's such a beautiful vision. I want to make a meditation out of it. Maybe Bella, I'll write it, and maybe Bella will say it in her beautiful voice. It'll be about the planets talking to us and looking down on us when we're in the crib, and or even in the womb, right? Before, probably 88 degrees beforehand, and they're saying, oh, she's gonna need this gift, and they're whispering all these gifts into us, because that's what these planets have really done, right? So it gives you a different perspective, it creates a little intimacy, like, oh, okay, so what is this planet trying to tell me? How does that piece thread in with my whole design? Why did I need this? That's what I do. So let's do a sacred pause.
Something is moving. My internet connection just became unstable, and you froze. So I was like, ooh, somebody's talking to us.
Retrograde. Line 3, trying things out.
Yeah, so let's just say a couple of more things about the chart. Again, we can see that there is so much about relating humanity. You know, the relating Mercury is in the 36th gene key, which is about humanity and compassion. So again, really be able to tune into that in our relating. And then a line 6 is about gratitude. So it's kind of, Richard was posting a video a couple of days ago about any process of like how any process can be. And that's what he was speaking about. He's speaking about Mercury, and the last stage is always gratitude. When we've gone through like the dissonance, the feedback, the sharing, the authenticity, you know, then we come to that, the gratitude for what we learned through that process of relating. So we are in that, and it is about, you know, remembering what it is to be human, and not only in the difficult, but also in the beautiful, you know. I also feel maybe the last thing I want to say is that these further away planets, so many times Pluto is, you know, we refer to Pluto as our soul, especially maybe more in astrology, but even, you know, even this is the mystic, even when Richard and Ra looked at the planets. So you can see that both these planets are further away, are in the head center. So it's like the soul of existence is asking us to ask those questions right now. It's about inquiry and truth in the 63, and it's about inspiration and the great mystery in the 61st. So it's like, now open that door for what is it the soul wants to inquire, what is the inspiration that leads us to understand the great mystery, you know. And that's where Melinda is such an inspiration for me, because she's so much in tune with all the signs, and she has all the instruments close to her. So she will have her tarot deck when she cooks, and then 3 cards will fall out, you know, and then she will go out in the forest, and then this tree that has a formation that is, you know, that is, so everything, when we are in tune with that, it's right there. And that's what the 61 is, it's telling us. And you can see, you also have it in the note, is really that to be, what does inspire you to inquire the great mystery, like what is it for you that is your connection to God, or to you know, however you want to call it, to the universe. So that's, you know, you're really a role model in that, Melinda. And I know from everything you told me, that since you were a child, you know, even when you speak about church and those things, like your relationship with those things and how you have let it guide you since you were like very young. And that's an inspiration just in that, speaking about the 61 and inspiration. And it's,
and I'm getting back to it, and that's why part of the reason why we're doing this is because it's just a lot of information sometimes up in our heads, but we want to be able to break it down simply enough so that you can walk with it in your life, use it for direction, kind of give yourselves a heads up. You guys, I know, work on yourself a lot. You find your center, but you have to matriculate in society, and this energies and frequencies are happening right now. So if it's just a little bit overwhelming, all you would do is focus on the sun and the earth, and maybe the moon changes pretty fast. So, you know, maybe just focus on the sun and the earth for now, and see how those programming partners I like to say deprogramming partners, because they work together and pull and push, and there's two lines, there's a little bit of friction in the codon rings, and I see that, there's activity. I can feel that in my hands right now. How do they work together? If they're over here and they're balancing each other, where do they come to the center? How are they moving? So take a look at, some of the key words and feel into it. Maybe not think so much, and bring it into your body and contemplate it. Walk with it in your life.
So maybe it's time for questions, or like any questions or anything that popped up for you during this half hour, if you want to share.
And if you don't feel like sharing this time, that's fine too. We can pull a card. We can dive in. I have 347 in my chart. Yeah, the oppression, I'm just like, I'm holding it down, and I went to a sound bath. Oh my gosh, you guys, it was amazing, especially probably because I'm a musician and I have harmony in my life's work. And so to be in a sound bath, oh, so lovely. And my body, it was too much. I'm like, this is too much. I'm like, silly, send it out. So I started, saying, okay, I've got 347. Let's transmute all the karma for the planet right now. And I'm like, in my head, I go, oh, you're so silly, Melinda. But you know what? If you speak your intention and put the energy behind it, who knows what happened? Well, let's change the story and transmute the karma, I say. It was funny, my friend, she, my soul sister, she says transmuting energy all the time. She doesn't block. A lot of energy workers, they block themselves. She's fearless. She's a projector, for one. And so what she does is she transmutes their energy. And I remember I was in my little tiny town in Oregon, and somebody was really activated and talking about pain, which activates me because I'm a healer. And I felt myself constrict in my body, and I wanted to run away. And I'm like, okay, this is not, it's time to get off the roof. You need to get back into society. Okay, so you can do this, Melinda. So what I did is I planted my feet firmly on the ground, and I put my hands down by my sides. It's almost, I felt like, almost like a modified Superwoman stance, where you're really tapping into Mother Gaia, because I needed some help. And so I got myself grounded. I couldn't help this person until I got clear in my body what I could do for them, to help them. So I got clear, and then I felt good. And she paused for a minute, because she was telling her story, and she was passionate about it, as we are all about our passionate stories, especially if they involve suffering and pain. And what happened was she paused, and I blipped in with a little something. I don't even know what I said. And it took her on a different track. It was beautiful. The energy in the whole room changed, and the people around her, everybody started giggling too. It was beautiful. So that was a good lesson for me, to not be afraid of other people's pain, and because we all have pain. Can I get an amen? She certainly had pain yesterday when I slammed into that wall with my toe. Well, shuffle some cards. These cards
Hello?
are, yes, go ahead.
Can you guys hear me?
We can.
You can? Okay.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to chime in, and I don't know how to do this on my phone while I'm walking, but I'm here.
Yay. What's your What are you? What's your profile?
1-3.
Nice. She's digging in deep. So the 3 in your what's called unconscious, I prefer to call it design. So that's for your body, your inner work, your soul work. So for a 3, that would be more like trial and error with the body. I would say that you can use your 1 to investigate what's worked for other people, right? Mm-hmm. And you can lessen the learning curve, okay? Mm-hmm. This is a thing. I really feel that this could be a thing. And then just release about, expectations and just experience it. Bella, how would a 3 in your body, what would be good advice for that? Can you think of something?
The 3 is the cardiovascular system. So it's so funny that you're out walking your dog, because the 3 would do it.
I get all my downloads while I'm on walks. Like I try to do. I have to be walking to get stuff.
Nice.
That's so much.
She gets it. She's doing her sacred self-care. Awesome.
I am. I had a rough morning. I think that there's some just craziness going on the planet, and it's just all very interesting how it aligns with where the sun is right now. And I had a transit chart reading yesterday.
Awesome. How'd that go?
It was really cool. I'm glad I waited so long, because I wouldn't have understood anything when I first reached out to him a year ago, and I'm a reflector, so it took me 13 lunar cycles to finally do it.
Oh, it's an honor to be here with you, reflector.
So it's just, he told me to pretty much what I've been doing, but having that accountability and somebody saying, hey, you need to do this now, like every time it happens. He's like, just write down everything. If you don't feel like brushing your teeth, write it down, note when it is, note, like I got the pocket ephemeris, and he said to just see when it's happening next, and then kind of track it and observe, and not try to use it, like not try to weaponize it. Because I was like, ooh, if I learn this, then I can figure out when I have energy. And he's like, no, you just want to observe, because just by observing, you're going to alter your reality anyway. So
sweet.
It was very cool.
That is very cool. I like it.
All right. I'm going to remute it now and listen to you guys. I just wanted to see if I could figure out how to chime in there, because there were a few things I was like, oh, yes.
Well, maybe we could talk about reflectors a little bit. You unicorn you.
Yes.
So her chart would have open centers, just like the chart we're looking at. Nothing would be filled in. She's just a mirror, total ready for wisdom. Boy, she came in this incarnation, and she's ready to absorb and be a wise person for all our business. So I bet you it's pretty awesome if she's hanging around some high frequency people.
It's my life completely changed when I changed the people I was around. So
can I get an amen?
It's I found my tribe here. Well, actually, Crystal. So like me and Crystal came together, and then we built like this community.
Ooh. Wonderful.
And we met another reflector in the area. So.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, you guys need tribe, really, really. That's speaking to my tribal energy.
So Ashley is writing in the chat. She's saying, Crystal, is she a projector?
Excuse me?
Ashley was just asking Crystal, is she a projector?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's a mental projector, so
okay.
She gets it, a lot of the openness too. She's only got the head and asthma.
Right. So
and then
what is
both my boys are manifestors.
Oh.
Wow.
That's a lot to feel, huh?
It is.
Trying
to wrap my head around that.
I really like the robustness though of a reflector that actually doesn't have any defined centers where like I said, this theme of the channels would be. And also the fact is you're 1-3, it's kind of, it's individualistic. So I feel like you're probably better built to actually have two sons like that than maybe, you know, somebody else, or maybe even a generator.
Yeah.
People meant to be, you know?
My other reflector friend has manifesting generator twins and a manifestor boy.
Wow.
So I don't know. I guess we go where we're supposed to.
Okay, so I'm wrapping my head around this. So with manifestors, they have a mechanism. Can you go, Amy, or Ryan, can you mute yourself for a minute?
Yeah, sorry.
No problem. So the reflector's absorbing everything, right? They're just totally open mirror for society. That's what they're here for. And having sons that are manifestors or manifesting generators is a little bit different. Did she say manifesting generators or manifestors?
Well, the twins are manifesting generators, and I think there could be a third son that was
manifestor. So that aura acts differently, and it would actually, it has resistance, because you wouldn't want to have, there's so much, there's a lot of power and responsibility with a manifestor, and it has to be used very wisely and carefully and inform everybody. So you don't want to just have that energy out and about. So it has a safety mechanism to where it creates kind of like a shield in a way. And so that is probably helpful to a reflector, so they're not feeling that as much. And I think it depends on the frequency of the person too, right? Because I've met manifestors, and boy, did I feel just that resistance. But then I've met other people, I'm sure I've met other people and haven't felt that. So it's something to experiment with all these energies.
And again, the line are, for me, change the aura. So for a manifestor, it will be a 4-6 that is very collective, personal. You would not really feel that aura so much because they're already kind of always taking in the other, although they are manifestors. We can feel the lines often also in the person, which is also why a 1-3 reflector, I feel like, is more robust than another kind of reflector, which is, of course, then if we're more robust, actually it's easier to have that role that you're speaking about, Melinda, so that we don't just absorb everything and everything kind of moves around inside, but really having that more reflecting, and it's a filtering more than anything else. It's like a filtering and a reflecting back. So yeah.
Do we have any projectors here? I have an analogy for a projector that I came up with. It's kind of descriptive. I go, it's like you're an anteater. And your tongue goes out and it tastes the aura. And it was like, wow, did their eyes get big? And I go, and that's the design of it. And so you're going to go out and taste it. And then, when you have somebody emotional, and Bella knows because I'm really emotional. So it's like, okay, where's the wave? Instead of like crashing into the wave, because it's coming up and crashing into it, how to get up on top and surf it, right?
Yeah, Lynn was just writing in the chat 6-2. So same as you, Melinda, but instead of being emotional, I think, or it doesn't say, but Lynn, are you emotional or 6, Echo?
So when you say emotional, you're saying the inner authority?
Right, I would, or just in the chart, if your emotional center is colored or if it's white. So that would be the right.
Which one?
I'm fully defined except for the, I think where the fear center is over there on the left side of the chart. I'm fully defined everywhere except there.
That's cool. So then with Melinda, you are emotional generators, both of you. So
okay.
Same profile. Here to be role models, probably, many things, the first 30 years, trying a lot of things, realizing that we aren't as six line beings, we're not as robust as the third line beings. So kind of after that, being more careful what we choose. And maybe it looks on the outside, this is really interesting with six line. On the outside, people would say that we are still maybe making the same mistakes or like falling down the stairs. But on the inside, we know that we do it with another awareness, or on the inside, we know that we're not doing it completely innocently and naively. We do it knowing that it's an experience. But the third line is more like kind of just for fun, bumping into things and falling down. And the sixth line, after the Saturn return by 30, we get that more of an awareness that it's not always fun to fall. And that's how we become the role models. So that's something you have in common, guys. And one more, so okay, so we have another 6-2 manifesting generator. Okay, so that's really cool. 3 on the call. Yeah.
That energy is
are
a
you
lot.
do you go by Kathleen or by Amy?
Amy, Kathleen?
Both, yeah. It's
I don't know.
We don't know.
I go by Amy.
Okay, Amy. Yeah. And the manifesting generator has that. Are you emotional manifesting generator, or or don't you have the emotional center colored in your chart, Amy?
I am still trying to learn all that. I'm hoping to kind of catch on as we go along. I know I'm a sacral.
Okay, yeah. So if you're sacral and don't have the center to the right filled in, you're kind of more like me. So you don't really need to sleep on things. You're gonna have an intuition that is kind of in the flow of the now. But that can be interesting to look at your chart, after the call and is that center the very, very far to the right, which is the emotion center that has the 22 that is in the transit right now. If that is open, that means that you kind of know your truth in the now. And if you have that center with the 22 filled in, that means that you have these emotional waves, and you're here to experience a lot of emotions and have that wave and all that. But it's not necessarily what you make decisions on. So it's good for you to sleep on things before you go to the act of things.
Okay, mine is closed, and I do have 22 there.
Okay, so it's colored, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so if it's colored, then we have Melinda and Lynn and you, and you all have your generators and your manifesting generator with that filled in. So that's powerful. Wow.
You guys, what I would suggest, my boyfriend will say, "What are we having for dinner?" And I'll just say, you know what? Can I get back to you on that? Because there's no answers in the now, Ross says. Okay, so boy, it's a yin type of thing, and we are taught in society often to be very yang. So bring it in. Do hashtag yin for the win.
And also for Amy, that thing that the energy for a manifesting generator, it kind of peaks and then it goes away. So it could be that you want to for dinner you want to cook that carrot soup, but then once you have the carrots on the cutting board, you're like, no, I want a sandwich. So that's something to know for a manifesting generator, that's okay that your energy is there, but then it's not there anymore. So you might be going to the beach, but then halfway you don't want to go, and to start accepting that that's how it works, and to also allow you when it's possible to turn around or to eat that sandwich instead is something for the manifesting generator that is okay. Because when you use your energy on the wrong things, you will feel frustrated, and that's the not self. When a generator or manifesting generator feels frustrated or angry, also in the manifesting generator's case, it's just showing that your energy has not been of best use. So understanding how can you stop putting energy in something that doesn't nurture anymore, it doesn't regenerate you anymore. Yeah.
Really, having no answer in the now, it's moving from masculine time to feminine time. if that helps, because that really helped me a lot. So the feminine time is very receiving and waiting, right? It's very much, if you look at the hexagram, it's drawing in. There's a lot broken lines down the center, so that's a pathway for the energy to come in. So it's a different feel. So think about feminine time. A good example is, I didn't know there was a time change today.
Yeah. So it's almost an hour. So if
Yeah, let me pull a card real quick, you guys. So what I do with cards, it's the Sacred Rebels. We'll close out with this. I usually 3 is my number because that's in my evolution. So I usually be thinking about what information you need. This is going to be for the group. So what information do we all need? So I'm shuffling for 3 times, and then I'm going to have you guys blow on them. We're going to get your juice on them. So I'm going to blow. Everybody, if you feel inspired, because breath is in Sanskrit is spirit. So when you inspire somebody, you're breathing spirit into them. Beautiful, right? So let's everybody just send your mojo to these cards. Woo. Okay, and I'll pick one. I like this one too because I should be able to find it online. This is a pretty intense deck. I found it at my Reiki training. Had to have it. The pictures were beautiful. The pictures alone are a message. There's the sacred geometry, everything on it. A lot of people will do the numerology. They'll add up the number that's on the card. Because of my affinity to gene keys, I take the number and try to look at what gene key it would be. And there's even homework on these cards. So let's see what we got. First of all, here's the deck picture. Let's see here. Sacred Rebels, yeah. Ooh, okay, so it's a 5, and it's follow your own rhythm. That's what we've been talking about today, how we all have these different auras and rhythms, right? So follow your own rhythm.
And the 5 in the gene keys is timelessness, right? So, and patience. So it's like, it's all perfect. So that's cool. Thank you, Melinda.
You're welcome. Thank you all for being here. It's so fun to interact with you guys, and we want to do this every Sunday, but we're going to move the time to 10 o'clock.
It's hurting the ears.
Yeah.
So also, I saw Ashley just writing in the chat. So what you can do with what I was saying, that this all kind of, you can go back to your own chart. So for example, for me, I have.
Hey, baby.
Oh, I think Trinity. I'm just gonna move. Okay. So for example, you know, if you have, I have a 32, and then we see that that 54 is activated right now. That would mean that in my being, in my blueprint right now, this whole channel is activated. And also that means that this center, if it's white for me, wouldn't be white anymore. So that's what Ashley was saying in the chat. You could just read that whatever you have, and there are also softwares. I'm using something called Bantu. I think we can write in the group, where you can see the transits and see exactly how your body graph becomes right now with the current transits, or put it like a week from now, or, you know, on your birthday, or so you can actually play with it. Because then that's also a fun way to learn about the channels. And maybe, you know, this week I really feel about this kind of marrying maiden, that I could do anything because I need to ascend, I need to go somewhere. That will be this channel. And maybe I can feel that in your energy this week, that I have so much more energy to do that, and I'm not afraid of failure anymore, for example. That would be, you know, the good part of it. So then we can learn to, like, exactly as a reflector, to observe what's going on and to see if we, you know, where the clues in the transit chart are. So even if we're not a reflector, this observation, and the signature for the reflector is surprise. So it's like, it's kind of fun as well when we get surprised by the transits and the charts. So check out I think you can see the chat if you go, and everybody can see the chat. So you see Ashley has like suggested some things of these that are really cool. And then of course we're going to do this every week, so you don't have to do all this week, but these are just some suggestions of how to start yourself and how to like start to like, you know, find what's under the surface. And don't hesitate to write. Also, when we repost this in the group, you can write questions, and we're going to be checking it so that we can respond to that. So yeah, for me that's for all for today, and it's so much fun to be here. And you know, also, you know, feeling the interaction is something for me that is like I said in the beginning, so makes me even more enthusiastic.
Yes, I agree. And then also be thinking of attitudes and gratitudes for this week, so you can draw that energy to you. And if you'd like to join us next Sunday at 10, we would love to have you. Thank you for being here and taking time to devote time to yourself for your sacred support. This is your sacred support for the week, we hope. That's our intention. So may you walk through the rest of this transit graciously. Namaste.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.